Hey everybody, and welcome to House of Holocrons, episode number 38. This week, we don't sadly have anything new to talk about aside from the shows, of course, from May 4th, but we have talked about Visions. Um, we do have a little bit to mention about, of course, the strike and how it might affect a little bit of the upcoming Star Wars projects from shows to movies and thereon. And we don't sadly have anything new to talk about. We'll pretty much just see where everything goes from there. This is going to be an interesting evening too, due to the fact that I feel like with the writer strike in the air, I don't want to like be a down bring a bad. I don't know how to say this. I don't want to be a naysayer. There we go, or a speak ill. But I just hope this doesn't re-emerge a more toxic community. I feel like the Star Wars community was kind of getting a lot better there recently. Weren't complaining as much or weren't being as just hostile. And if the writer strike were to like push a bunch of shows back, I could see it turning a little bit uglier. I know a lot of people are probably the most upset about recently, of course, hearing that Andor will be pushed back a small bit, or at least definitely hindered in its moving forward, as the showrunner has joined with the Writers Guild Association in their strike against all of it. Hopefully, it doesn't take too many things years back, but whatever has to happen needs to happen, of course, as we want the writers to be paid well, because good writers is what makes good Star Wars. Everyone's been talking about how Mandalorian and Andor and all those things are so amazing. Well, as much as the actors are great, of course, the costuming is great, but it's the writers who build the entire world in the beginning. So, super happy to, get something more for them. Everything hopefully work out. May the force be with the Writers Guild and all of us, and things will still come out close enough to when they were supposed to originally.
Yeah, the writers are basically the framework of the entire show. So
Super happy to, yes, for them, everything hopefully work out.
having them is pretty important. So I can understand they feel like they're not getting their pay. A lot of the writing right now, um,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of it's how they're treated. Some places are once you're done writing, they give you the boot. I don't think Star Wars has been doing that. They often reuse a lot of their writers. So
Oh yeah.
um, but especially in the video game world, it's even worse.
Oh yeah, I hear developers. I mean, almost everything, animators, all of that kind of stuff gets thrown around just easily. Like after a project, they're all just let go, move on to the next thing.
Yeah, it's easy to get lost, and because we get the people funding movies, a lot of them
Mm-hmm.
want to see numbers, and as a consumer's perspective, we think of the big names, which typically the people whose faces on the characters or the main, director or whoever. We don't think about the other several people involved in it.
And it really does come down to writing again, because if you have complaints about Book of Boba Fett, if you have complaints about Mandalorian season 2, if you have complaints about the sequels or whatever it is, it really comes down to writing and directing. And writers and directors have to work so integral. They have to have each other's back, and it's key and it's super important. All these parts play a huge role, but if there's no story written down, no one has lines, and no one has a setting, and no one has anything.
And even if you don't have complaints and you really love stuff, it's the same scenario. It's up
Right.
to the writers. So a lot of your popular scenes, yeah, the actors sometimes will do their own flair on it. A lot of it was written. It started with setting a scene, and they how they write up the each scenes and everything, and especially when we get to Andor, which
Mm-hmm.
is one of the better written Star Wars series that we've gotten so far. Um, what we understand by the article is it's already done writing, but
Right.
because of um, the two brothers are part of it, of the guild, so they're going to go ahead and not continue any further filming or producing or anything. They're going to stop where they are.
Right.
This shouldn't last forever. We just might have a delay. Who knows?
Well, then I know with the Acolyte too. I'm curious with that one, because I know the Acolyte should be very close to being done if it's not
Yeah,
already. I wouldn't be
The
surprised if
Acolyte, yeah.
if it's already into like purely an editing format. I could highly see that this one remains the way that it is, and that Acolyte is probably going to come out in the same time that it should. If it is now again in editing and just like clipping and all that kind of stuff
Yeah,
process.
what I understood from Celebration is the Acolyte's pretty much done filming.
Right.
So yeah, I think they're just doing final touches on that one. And of course, Ahsoka, because being so
Mm-hmm.
close, yeah, they're 100% done with it.
That
And the
was another one I was
Skeleton
really worried
Crew.
about, man. If Ahsoka got pushed back again, I knew the armchair warriors would rise and they would be quite upsetty spaghetti. They would not be happy about it.
Pretty sure Skeleton Crew is pretty much done. Um, yeah, they
True.
may have some final stuff. It's a whole process.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. I've never been in the filming industry, so I don't know all the steps that it takes.
Well,
So,
and who knows what Disney would say? Of course, that's a whole nother like conglomerate, megacorp, other direction to go into. Is
you know,
what do they tell their writers? Like, I mean,
eh,
it's a
when you
sense of
when
they're
you
like, I who know. Hopefully, they're not being. I wouldn't say. Uh, hopefully they're not being too imperial about it, too sidious, in the sense of being like,
yeah,
look, we pay you guys every year. We give you an actual job. We don't fire you after every project. Come on, what are you doing?
I don't know the source of the strike, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's Disney's fault.
Yeah.
It's just there's currently a writer strike going on, and the only effect that it had was that they were finishing up Andor
Mm.
two's season two's writing, and they were accused of writing during the writer's strike. So it really,
Okay.
I don't think it had anything to do with Disney. It could be another Disney property that kind of initiated the writer's strike.
Right.
Usually, yeah, it usually initiates when there's mistreatment or not enough pay for writers in the industry. So it's probably several sources, several writers not getting their full promised dues or just not getting their proper contracts.
Yeah. I know. I believe Taika Waititi isn't he attempting to start his movie? I believe the next year or so. He's trying to start his. So.
Oh, I've heard. I mean, there's always the rumors, and I've
Mm-hmm.
seen rumors that he's changed his mind.
Oh, true.
So I mean that, and also he's kind of a fickle person as well. So I believe that he could be wishy-washy about
Yeah.
until it actually starts happening, because he is that kind of person. Um, yeah, it is what it is.
Right.
Um,
But nonetheless, these shows are so close to being out. We have so much more to eventually talk about here soon,
yeah.
and we also I've actually been watching a bit more of the Young Adventures with my son, and that was amazing. I actually really enjoy Young Adventures. It's one of those really good cartoons that does a great job of being able to keep both the child and the adult entertained. I actually really enjoy it for that matter. It's actually it's really really good at helping the both of us just kind of like pretty much give the wife a few minutes. She just put on some Young Adventures. Um, no huge lore drops, but I'm expecting it. I would not be surprised. Oh, did we drop everything? What's going on here?
It's my internet's messing up.
Let's see what's going on. All right, it's fine. Just want
It
to make
should
sure
be
everything's
better
good.
now. It was mine for some reason. My desktop to connect to the Wi-Fi,
Right.
and it's currently being used. So I was making sure it had the Ethernet connection, not the
That's
Wi-Fi.
fine.
So I should be better now.
Cool. Alrighty. All is good then. So everything's messing up on
Apologize
my end.
about that. No, yeah, it was mine.
All right.
I don't. For some reason, my computer thought it would be better to connect to the Wi-Fi, even though I'm plugged into the computer.
Technology is amazing. It's great until it decides not to be. That's the beauty of it. Um, I am, of course, looking the most forward to Acolyte, and then, of course, Ahsoka's going to be great. Uh,
Yeah.
Jedi Survivor finally beat that. I know. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything, but it was great. It was an amazing story. It sucks that I love the idea of it staying a video game because that just makes it easy. But man, they make the story so good. They make me love these characters so much. I just want to see Cal Kestis on the big screen. Uh,
It's
it's
so funny because it's so easy for them to do too. That's the
right.
funny part. Yeah,
So easy.
it's they made them so realistic. They based it off the actor. They could easily add them onto anything.
Hmm.
And honestly, I feel like they would have another Mandalorian moment where they'd get a lot of people watching it.
Right.
Jedi Survivor has so many people buying it. Even with the kind of small backlash of the bad PC port,
Yeah.
um, it still had so many sales. Yeah, and people are loving it. I've seen so many people posting, their versions of Cal, their
Yep.
versions of the lightsabers.
Yes, it's so much
Uh,
fun.
my favorite ones, I saw one that's called the American Cal, and it's like
Yeah.
he's got like a big mustache and like a mullet almost, and he's got the blaster. It's like red, white, and
Red,
blue
white, and
painted.
blue. Yep, exactly. You can go so crazy in it, and I love it. I'm actually about to do a new game plus, and and that one you unlock the red blade. So I'm gonna get a red blade and just make like a super evil looking cow and just run around and have a great time. Sadly, it's not as like a Kotori where you don't really get to
Yeah,
be evil, but that's hopefully gonna change too. I think was it EA or someone else supposed to be working on some like large scale RPG Star Wars game.
yeah. I
So
think, yeah, I think. Well, we kind of had a surge of games
BioWare.
like that lately,
Mm-hmm.
where you get a lot of, and you can mix it up with different games, that have been pushing that forward. Where
Yeah.
you have the a main character. It's a lot easier to program because you don't do as much customization. Which focuses kind of a story of the main character, but you have your own flair to it.
Right.
But I think with the Hogwarts Legacy is kind of as customizable as we've had in the past with games, so
Right.
it's just kind of bringing that back.
Let's see. Next, we have Star Wars Hunters on the Nintendo Switch, which I might get that. That looks kind of fun.
I know they have the old Rogue Squadron for free on Amazon Prime if
Yeah.
you have that.
Untitled Star Wars FPS shooter from Respawn.
Yeah, there's the new shooter supposed to be coming out.
Ubisoft. Yeah, it's Ubisoft that's doing the Untitled Star Wars open world game. Star Wars action adventure game with very little rumors from Skydance. Of course, there's Eclipse, which got like canned or something. I don't know. That one's all kinds of in between creation and not.
I mean, with Jedi Survivor, you're getting closer and closer to the High Republic video game, which we probably might see pretty
Well,
soon.
yeah, but that's the problem. I've heard a lot of bad things about Eclipse. I heard a lot of people left or like I heard it got put kind of like on the shelf for right now, which sucks because the story looked gorgeous. Those new enemies and it was gonna get so many people into the High Republic as well. But
I mean, it could be like happened with 1313,
oh
um,
man, that hurt so
which
much knowing that
well,
game was like
that's
done.
where uh, the Mandalorian kind of originated from, right? The idea of
Yeah.
the Mandalorian, the show, actually originated from the basis of that game. So you get a show out of it in a sense. So
Yeah, but I still would love the interim of young Boba Fett explained in
yeah,
a video game. I think that would be a better way to do it than a TV show. I think a video game would feel a better way to explain young Boba. Have him do
yeah,
missions with Aura Singh and Bosk.
they had a pretty fun. I think it's PS2 where you get to play as Jango Fett,
Yeah, I remember that
bounty
one.
hunter, or something like that. And
There was
it was all
dude,
right.
original Xbox and like PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3 had a lot of amazing games for Star Wars because that was when all of the prequels were coming out. And everyone had a piece of the pie. It wasn't just one
Yeah.
studio for the last 2 decades making Star Wars games bad.
Yeah, during that period, especially the '90s and the early 2000s, the Lucasfilm, because they weren't Disney at the time, were basically signing off on
Yeah.
almost everything Star Wars. We got a lot of good Star Wars, got a lot of bad Star Wars, but it
I'm
was all over the
still
place.
shook that EA dropped Battlefront 2 so quickly. We pay to win is bad. You could have given us, hey guys, how about $5 and you unlock a Darth Talon skin, or here's Finn as a Jedi. Here's Darth Nihilus. Here's Revan. Here's Gar Saxon. Here's the Mandalorian. Here's Ahsoka. Why would you like? they make the weirdest decisions with their Star Wars games. I love
Yeah,
Battlefront 2. I still play it.
yeah.
It's a fun, mindless game.
I felt like they wanted to make a kind of Star Wars skin with Battlefield
Hmm.
enough to where they could just get it enough to where it's a game people can consume, and then just leave it because they never really touched it after that. We haven't gotten any new maps, new
Yeah.
characters, or nothing.
And the story was amazing. Learning about Operation Cinder and what happened after Palpatine like immediately died and his proxy that took over. Like awesome storyline.
They had the franchise already built.
Yeah.
From the original first two. The first one wasn't horrible. It had its quirks. It wasn't amazing either, but it was still playable. So you
Right.
had the groundwork, and you also had the groundwork with the shooter, and being Star Wars, it literally was put out in front of them, and it's like they wanted this. It's like starting a project and not
Hmm.
finishing it
Right.
because it's not what they wanted to focus on their other projects. And it's sad because they could have made a lot of money through it.
Oh yeah, 100%. I still don't understand how we don't have like different versions. Like, why is Qui Gon not in that game? What are you talking about?
They could have easily done DLC for it and it would have sold
Yep.
instantly. They could have done
Look at Lego Star Wars and all their skin packs. That's how
yeah,
they
they
make most
could,
of their
they could
money
have
now.
added new care when Mandalorian came out, they could have added Din, they could have added all the characters, they
Yeah.
could have added, or they could have just
Yaddle.
reskinned they could have just reskinned Boba with Din and it would
Yeah.
have worked fine.
Exactly.
Um
And give him addition of one extra. Just change his gun. Like, just give him a different gun, and
yeah.
everyone's okay.
But they it's just I personally blame EA. They
Yeah,
have a track of doing stuff like that,
that is very
and
true. I'm happy
uh,
Ubisoft is making the RPG. I've
yeah,
always Ubisoft makes a lot of good RPGs when they let their writers their writers really just take.
they they have done some bad things, but
They have every
they
big
have better stuff in the past. Their current stuff, I don't think is as strong.
and
But
hope. Yep, I agree, and hopefully they'll be able to change that. That's the way I look at it.
honestly, that feels like the same with every of these major publishers.
Yeah.
Honestly, our strongest games feels like they're coming from these smaller
Oh,
smaller
dude,
game
Respawn.
companies. 'Cause,
Respawn,
yeah,
like Titanfall 1 and 2 are amazing games. Respawn has not made very many bad decisions so far with gaming. Like, they've made their list of games is far better than worse.
yeah, and that's the way we are right now. I feel like we get into this kind of routine of how games are being made,
Mm-hmm.
where we're rushing to get it out on the shelves immediately, get these
Yeah.
pre-order sales, get these DLCs immediately, so we can get more pre-orders, and not actually caring or having the love of the game.
Right.
I'm starting to think some of these studios are learning that it's backfiring.
Oh, yeah.
Because you think of these big major games, a lot of them are made that are coming out recently. The ones that have actually been making names for themselves are smaller studios that because they care about the game.
Or Fortnite.
Oh,
Because
you just
Fortnite is perfect for
yeah,
some reason.
it's well no, it's you either care about the game to get older fans involved, or you just make it child friendly, and
Right.
they will play anything
I have a
because
lot of
children
my
like
coworkers
flash.
apparently play Fortnite and they hate the new Star Wars characters. They say they're overpowered as all hell.
I'm pretty sure that happens with every pack with the
Yeah.
character.
They first come out and they're just crazy strong. But you know, when you have the Force and a lightsaber, you're supposed to be stupid powerful. That's the point. I really look forward to the video games, though. The RPGs, of course, the one that has me the most excited. I really hope it is like another KOTOR style where you can be a Jedi or a like weapon, like, you know, like a gunfighter or a sword user. You don't have to be just a Force user. But at
Yeah,
the
I'd like
same
to go.
time, I'd also be down for Hogwarts Legacy into the Jedi Temple, where you get to be a youngling.
Yeah, I'd like to go back to like a Jedi Academy style.
That would be awesome. Yeah. Oh, and
Even in Jedi,
the fighting style in Jedi Academy is so amazing. So
I
good.
mean, I know we have technology and we don't need the crazy animations to have a good game. We don't need these third person views all the time. We can do
Yeah.
first persons just as fine. You can still I don't we don't if you're gonna have a robust storytelling RPG, it's shown that we don't need these crazy animations where you do the block.
Hmm.
Honestly, I'm kind of tired of games where they're the timing of the block and the timing for this and that, and
Yeah.
just just have fun with it, you know?
Man, I need to get an Oculus though, because the Galaxy's Edge stuff and the
Yeah.
like all of that, Vader's Immortal, and the so amazing. I love. I've gotten to play a few of those VR games, and they are stellar. If you can stand the VR motion, it's so awesome.
VR doesn't work well with me, sadly,
Yeah.
but I've seen footage of it and it looks fun.
Oh, it looks so much. It is. It is. It's a good time. So, yeah,
Yeah, they
maybe
get
they'll invent some way to make it more stabilized or something for others.
what's funny is the VR technology is actually not new at all. It's just more consumer friendly.
Right.
The stuff that they're using for these VR headsets they've had in since like 2000.
Yeah.
It just was a lot more expensive to do. Um, and that's it's funny how long it took them to sell these VR headsets.
Yeah. Yeah, even when they first came out, people were pretty trepid had a lot of trepidations. There we go about it, but it definitely caught fire. It later in its life, I would say, began to really blow up. Now VR is still awesome, and a lot of people are into it, but it's not near as heavy as it was. And it seems, of course, like AI is now the big thing that all the tech companies
Yeah.
are going after. You know,
I
maybe we'll
wonder if
get droids soon. You think we'll get droids eventually out of AI? Maybe a nice protocol droid?
probably not.
Oh, that'd be
I'm
so
sure
cool.
somebody's gonna do something silly, but I don't see a purpose of it right now.
Yeah.
To have to because AI, being an engineer, I see things differently. Because the AI that we have right now is not true AI.
Hmm.
It's not what we think in science fiction. They're not self-thinking. They're using basically an algorithm that takes the input of text or
Yeah.
whatever you give them and kind of using the internet, the World Wide Web, and giving them a
Hmm.
solution. So you sometimes get warped things, you get warped images when you do the AI art. It's good, it works to a point, but it's not true pure
Right.
thinking.
Well, that sounds like the perfect thing for a droid then. That way they don't ever
Yeah.
try to have an uprising.
So yeah, the joke, so people are like, "Oh, they're going to turn on us." No, that they can't. That
Yeah.
it's not currently possible. They don't have any ability. It's literally just a giant math equation. Is the simplest way to put it.
I know, speaking of
Um,
droids, I'm excited about the upcoming, I guess, in between for Empire Strikes Back to Return of the Jedi, the
yeah.
Dark Droids comic series that'll be dropping
Oh yeah,
in the
yeah.
next few. Yeah.
That looked great. I love the cover art for that.
Hmm.
Um, Yeah, but the good thing about AI that we could see when it comes to video games is how these algorithms are advancing. We could see more of these kind of games that and include AI with some of
Yeah.
the development of the story, which allows because a lot of games use a version of kind of an AI where we have when you play against the computer player.
Yeah.
So as this advances, we may start getting a more unique player experience now with enemies. They're
Oh,
not
yeah. Enemy AI actually really starts to respond and understand things, how you
or
play the
have it
game.
yeah where it learns. So like say you
Hmm.
play Jedi Survivor and you're playing you're fighting against droids or stormtroopers, and you may have killed a group of stormtroopers in the section here, but in the next area where you encounter more, maybe over the radio chatter they hear Jedi's coming, so they act differently, they
Yeah.
learn. Or you beat an enemy and next time he learns that you like to dash a lot instead of blocking, so he's going to and then kind of adjust his fighting technique
Yeah.
to that, which is possible with the current AI.
Well, and it makes
Uh,
sense when you're fighting like Dark Lords, Inquisitors, and things like that.
yeah,
You want them to be smart and act fast and respond, because then it keeps you on your feet too. So that'd be really awesome, and hopefully we get like a really cool Star Wars fighting game. That'd be really perfect for that.
yeah. So we could start seeing more AI in video games,
Hmm.
which would and there's multiple. It doesn't have to necessarily be for enemies. You could also include for developing further settings,
Yeah.
um,
Help
like
populate a world too.
the background of the world. It could help with size of the program. They want to
Yeah.
have a really in-depth world, but the program's going to be massive. That makes it very difficult for a lot of computers or systems that have it. With they have an AI, and it can just self-generate all this stuff as you play it.
Kind of control the traffic, like kind of you see with your background there, like in Coruscant, it could help control the traffic and stuff.
And then also could they could also change it so like one thing that's difficult because it doesn't have a kind of an onboard AI.
Yeah.
Let's say that you were just in that level previously, you had a firefight and you were blasting, and some blasters hit the building, and AI could remember that there was some blast or scorch marks from the previous fight. So you could have kind of setting remembrance,
Yeah.
or just like I said, evolution of the background. You could have it to where it
That'd be so
and
cool.
also it's not just looped traffic. It's
Yeah.
just kind of generating. Because you type in, go in these AI arts and you type in, like car, you'll get a bunch of different cars. So
Yep.
it's capable of creating stuff through an algorithm.
That's a really good way to put it. Actually, I really enjoyed the idea there of yes, having something that's like, oh yeah, you put your lightsaber through the wall here, so that scorch mark, that long
Yeah.
mark that stays there because you burned it, you destroyed it. That would be so awesome to come back and see like, oh yeah, that's right, I have been here. So you could actually like go around and be like, okay, okay, I've been this way, so I know not to go there again.
And the reason we don't typically see that, a lot of it's due to the memory.
Yeah.
To be able to have the program remember that you did that, um, to input that would take so much. It would be too more large than it's worth, to put in these programs to include that scorch mark, because then it's permanently added to that graphical file. So every time you
Right.
go by, instead of just reloading that image, because it's just loading, because the whole world is not loaded at once. It's just where your player is.
Yeah.
And so to keep that in part of that chunk of the memory, that modification it's like I said, there's so much memory, because players don't want to have a terabyte of a game. They want to have now we're seeing like maybe
Yeah.
100 gigs.
Right. Oh, it's already Survivor was huge, which it wasn't like massive. But I mean, it was a big upgrade. It's not like Call of Duty. Oh my god, that Call of
Yeah,
Duty download when that first came out.
a lot of games
Why?
they try to cut back on memory for like scenery. They'll make
Mm-hmm.
things not three-dimensional. It doesn't look good up close, but far away when you see all the blades of grass and stuff. But it saves on memory, which also helps with load time.
Mm-hmm.
So less objects you get to load. But with an AI, it would help.
And wildlife,
Because
that'd
it
be
could
nice too. That way you have like actual like, oh, look at this animal hunting that other animal because it actually is thinking and like processing and trying to like map out a actual ecosystem.
or like just generic NPCs. It could help. Like just make. When you go into town, you're
Because
not
we've all
just
seen
seeing.
that. Like you're walking behind an NPC in an RPG game or something, they walk for like a block and then they just turn around and walk back for no reason.
Or you see that, and it's this. You saw that NPC like just recently.
Yeah.
It's just copied and pasted. With an AI, they can like just make up something on the spot.
Mm-hmm.
So you can, cause like I said, you can go into these AI art and just say input a description, and it'll make it real fast.
Right.
So you can tell the AI,
That'd be
when you
yeah.
walk into town, make this many people, and it can make 10 unique people, and you go to say there and just keep making unique creations, because it's able to like I said, making it kind of an algorithm
Right.
generating, instead of, because having a person try to basically hand design each individual character. If it's gonna be it's gonna be this NPC. It's not worth the memory or the time. So it's a lot easier to make like 20 and then copy
Yeah.
and paste.
Yeah, that is very true. It'd be awesome though to have like such a different variation where you don't feel like you're seeing the same
Yeah.
red-headed, blue-sneakered person every 3 blocks. That's another thing I think Jedi Survivor did really well is they made all of the settings so small, and like when you go to Coruscant, you're in like very industrial area, so you don't see any people. But at least in the other places where you do see people, there are so few that everyone's just kind of unique, and it's okay. As the entire internet has, of course, fallen in love with the almighty Turgle. I don't know if you've seen him yet, Mike.
What does he look like?
Turgle, the little frog man from Survivor.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure I've seen it.
Yeah, he doesn't play any role to the story except for stealing everybody's hearts and wallets.
Oh yeah, I've seen him.
Yep.
The two eye the
Yeah. The whole internet, man, absolutely loves Turgle. And I'm not surprised. There's always a glove shitto that gets picked up on and just carried to stardom.
Do you think there's gonna when they do Jedi Survivor Black Series? Do you think there's gonna be one of them?
Oh, dude, yes. With how many like fan pages I've seen just on like Twitter and Instagram, Turgle. If they don't make a Turgle figure, they're just missing out on free money. I know people who are getting tattoos of Turgle. Like it's nuts.
Is it the face or I haven't seen any of the gameplay of it?
Well, he's just kind of dumb, but in a funny way. So people love a good stupid glove shitto. That's always a big thing. A no name dumb guy. And then people love toads already. Like I guess toads have been a recent thing too. You know, toads and mushrooms.
You're
So
saying he's as a this is not coming from me. This is just coming from popularity. So he's a better made Jar Jar. I'm assuming.
to a degree, yes, he would be like everyone's newer favorite weird reptilian creature.
So I personally don't have a problem with Jar Jar, but a lot of people hate Jar Jar.
Yes. So if you don't like Jar Jar and you also don't like Turgle, well, you don't like anyone, and you can just go to hell. But Turgle apparently loves you, and will do. It's like Shrek. Turgle's the new Shrek. Shrek is love. Well, now Turgle is love.
Well, Shrek's a meme, so that's
Hey man,
story.
Turgle's on his way. Everyone's there. There are actually a lot of really cool background characters in that game though that you get to meet and talk to that don't change the story at all, but they have something to add. And again, that's why I'm just waiting when I'm watching that new Young Jedi Adventures show with my son. I'm just waiting randomly for Yoda to say something offhandedly that's like his species name or like the planet they come from or the original Jedi's name or something crazy. I just have this weird feeling that in Jedi Adventures there's going to be some Easter egg that is just through the roof. They've already found some like ancient star map that might be like Old Republic.
I haven't gotten to watch much. I've been way too busy. But do they do any of the like the OP cartoon stuff where they like just randomly like do something insanely impossible? Yeah.
Pretty much like last episode was the race episode where they all of a sudden needed to be in like a soapbox derby race for no reason, but they had to do it. It's very much 100% a kid show, but it does add thing from time to time that even an adult can enjoy 100%. I really enjoyed it.
The little bit I saw of it, I was impressed.
Yeah.
I actually surprised that I couldn't watch it. I didn't think I'd be able to sit through it. When I have more time, I hope I can sit down and watch some of it. Maybe when I'm not doing too much.
Right. Rewatched any of Visions?
I have not. No, I haven't really had much time to watch anything, to be honest.
Yeah, I've been I rewatched Creature's Reach a little bit, but I just love that one so much. And then the Ninth Jedi, I had to go back to Volume 1 and watch the Ninth Jedi again because that one's just amazing.
I think that's on my first on my list right now. Is to rewatch seasons 1.
Yeah.
I rewatched the first episode, and that's as far as I got because I wasn't able to continue. But
Ronin is good. The comic for Ronin was awesome. So good. So good. I would love to see more in the Ronin universe, but I understand how super non-canon it is. But it's nice. It's so fun. There's even a book out about it, but I haven't read the book yet. Heard good things.
Yeah, it's one of those like mashups that it doesn't fit in the story at all, but it's like just because of the design of Star Wars, it fits so well.
Oh yeah, I mean the Kurosawa films that everything is heavily based after, so it comes together perfectly. But I mean, even aside from that, Volume 2 did really good. Super, super, super well. I think I am ready though for more canon stuff. Like Mandalorian was awesome, but I do love lightsabers and the Force, and I want to see more Jedi. I want to see more dark side and light side added again. Like that's what really drew me into Star Wars, even as a young child. So I'm excited for us to get back to that with the Ahsoka series, with the Acolyte series. Who knows what's going to happen in Skeleton Crew?
Yeah, you'll get a lot of the lightsabering with Ahsoka, I hope. What we've seen.
We've got some good actors already announced for Skeleton Crew, or at least they've announced they're going to be a pirate in Skeleton Crew.
I don't know if we'll see any Jedi in that one. I don't
Probably
think we
not, but
will.
I feel like it'll still be really fun, especially with the actors we're getting as pirates. It's gonna be
Yeah,
hilarious.
I do like a lot of these shows that were kind of getting away with it, because getting
Hmm.
away from the Jedis, because I'm I always have the fear when we talking to Jedi's that we
Yeah,
get back into the few small pool of characters, which is the downside of Obi-Wan. Great with seeing a lot of original characters, but we start to see a lack of brand new characters. So that's
yeah.
one that's good thing about getting the acolyte, is having all brand new characters.
Hmm.
Um, and that's what I like to see.
I know
And
with
we
Ahsoka, what is it? Is it Hugh Yang? Is that the what is that robot's name?
I don't remember, but
I have to
it's
look it
from
up.
some of the one from the Clone Wars or whatever.
Yes. Well, I
Is it Clone Wars or
recently
Rebels? I think it's
Clone
Clone War.
Wars.
But
But
I think it would be awesome.
yeah.
Because the downside of watching the original story, which is great, it
Yeah.
does a fantastic job of, we kind of already know what to expect.
True.
But having brand new characters that aren't destined to be special, because that's the downside of Rey, is she's so special that we know she's gonna be an integral part of the story,
Yeah.
which is fantastic. But it would be kind of nice to have something like Acolyte, where we don't know who's going to be, are they going to have an integral part, or they're going to die the next episode? I, I think that, to me, that'd be a lot more interesting,
Right.
because in the real world of Star Wars, um, I mean, you see it in what I've read of this High Republic, which is a lot more realistic, is Jedi die easily.
Oh yeah.
We see that in Episode 3. It happens. And that's we get this idea with some of these like main characters, that we forget that Jedi's are not just five characters, and B, they don't all have miraculous plot armor.
Right. I mean, what is that first guy? Is it Cole Trebor or whatever his name is that jumps up in Attack of the Clones to fight
Yeah,
Dooku, and
oh
then
yeah,
Jango Fett just loads lasers into his chest? Man, that was like that's the first time I guess really when I think about it. Besides Qui-Gon dying to a Sith, which is common because people die in lightsaber
yeah.
battles, watching that happen in Attack of the Clones was really one of the first times we ever started to see Jedi getting taken down a lot. But it happens like a lot in the High Republic, and their enemies don't even
and
have lightsabers.
and really a main character if you think about it,
Yeah,
because none of the main characters, I don't think, died in the original trilogy.
very true. No, yeah, Leia,
Well,
Han, Luke,
besides Obi-Wan, but
but
that
that's not
was
that's a sacrifice. Yeah, I wouldn't call that
I,
even
I I
dying.
wouldn't yeah, I wouldn't count that one. That's the only
Yeah,
one I can think about. And then Yoda, and that's also part of that, but
yep,
not like just randomly, like you weren't expecting a death.
right. Yeah, High Republic is really good at being like, hey, you see this guy? Yeah, you like him, don't you? Hey, he's dead now. So, ha 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 ha. It sucks, but it's awesome, but it sucks. Day 7,453 of where the hell is Buriaga? Is he safe? Is he okay? None of us know, but we
Yeah,
want to.
I'm still in the first book, and my understanding of Buriaga is he's very lucky. He just kind of stumbles onto stuff, because the two like major plot things are almost feels like accidental.
Hey
What I've
man,
seen him
yep.
do,
Super
like the
force
kid,
empathy.
like he like bumps into the one kid that happens to be the one kid that hacks and knows what actually happened.
Yeah.
The only person in the entire universe that has a clue of what actually happened, and
It's the
he just
force.
bumped into him, and the kid just randomly opens up to the fluffy carpet that hugs him.
Hell yeah. The force works in mysterious ways, my friend. It
I thought it was pretty funny.
is. It is. If you do read if you ever start going into the young adult novels, then you'll even get to see Geode. Everyone loves Geode. He's totally not a huge divisive point in a lot of people who don't read the High Republic or anything.
I think I think my favorite storyline so far
Hmm.
is the one where they're on the mining planet.
Okay.
A part of it's because the I forget his name, the Twilight Master. I just love the
Load and
constant.
Greatstorm.
I just love this constant recurring thing where he's constantly throwing his Padawan off cliffs or
Yeah.
out of a ship.
You got to learn. Yeah, I love Loading Great Storm and Bell Zettifar, the dog
I just,
Ember.
I just think it's so funny that he's just constantly just trying to kill his Padawan.
And then of course Porter
Yeah,
Angle and his 9 egg soup. We get the comic The Blade. The
yeah.
first season of that was awesome. Second one coming out.
And I just also love the fact that even there's like the one part where Bell's like he's falling off the cliff. He's like, you know what? He could totally get away with this and said that this is meant by the Force if he died, and nobody would have been the wiser.
Nobody would have thought anything as he threw me off this cliff to my own demise.
And he just gives up on life, and then he gets saved. So funny.
Yeah, the High Republic, and that's one of the things I would say I like the most about the High Republic is the moments within it. What if you when you put it all together and you look at this huge picture from comics, from the books, from everything else, it is such a gorgeous full picture. They do such a good job of wrapping things up and putting things together. But yeah, when you're starting with phase one, just be prepared. It's a lot to take in as they want you to be in a new time period, so you have to learn a lot about that time period. But they also don't want to write the entire like Summerillion style book that's just about explanations, because then only 5 people,
Yeah.
and that's me 4 times, would read it. I need to get that
Yeah, I
timeline book
still
though, because Hugh Yang, that is who it is, by the way. I already looked it up just to make sure. In the timeline book, it literally, I love how it's like there's the creation of the Jedi and like all of this, and then Hugh Yang powers up.
it's
So apparently Hugh Yang's been around since literally like the dawn of the Jedi. So I'm beginning to think we're probably going to get some more Dawn of the Jedi lore from Hugh Yang.
yeah no. Well, did they put like almost a encyclopedia for the High Republic, or did that not come out? I thought I
There
saw
is an
something.
encyclopedia for the High Republic as well, yes. But the timeline story goes from before the High Republic all the way to the fall of the first or the Final Order.
But yeah, I want it to be a meme now that now Jedi training is tossing your Padawan off a cliff.
Yeah. Oh man, and it's so amazing. There are a lot of other great
It just
Jedi and
it just makes me
Master
laugh.
Padawan moments, but Bell Zettifar and Loading Greatstorm are absolutely some of my favorite.
It's just the you get the very serious, and the guy that does the voice, if you listen to the audiobook, gives him almost a
Yeah.
Russian accent.
Is
And
it
then
Mark Thompson? Is he doing that one too?
I don't know.
He
And
does
then you
most of
get
them.
he gives him almost a Russian accent, and then you get Belle, that's kind of a daredevil kid
Yeah.
that doesn't have confidence, which is fine. It makes sense.
Yes.
But yeah.
They do really good character develop, and they make a lot of fun characters in the High Republic. And I get to you all as well. If you don't have the books and you don't feel like reading, you can listen to them. If you don't want to listen to them, there are of course books. There are comics. There are so many ways to take in the High Republic media, and the more we like the High Republic, the more they make in it, which means we get new Jedi and new adventures and new people. So, but I also understand where a lot of people do want them to go to the older Republic, because then you get more Sith, and the lack of Sith is a
Yeah.
huge problem for a lot of people because they want the Sith versus Jedi, and you can't have any of that during the Rule of Two because they're all kind of just like in hiding, building up power.
So we get the raves with the red and green blue
Yeah.
lightsaber. Yeah, it's just it looks very it's very flashy and very eye-catching with
Mm-hmm.
the Old Republic, because just the amount of Jedi versus Sith.
Right.
Um, so I think yeah, and like I said before, that's a touchy subject because
Yep.
so many people have their idea of what the Old Republic is, and once Disney tries to make canonize a storyline for the Old
Mm-hmm.
Republic, I have a feeling a large portion of those that like the Old Republic are gonna not like it.
I could agree
'Cause,
with
yeah,
that, but it sucks because like I know with through Hasbro they have to see how well the Black Series figure Old Republic stuff sells.
I
The
mean,
second,
Revan sells out before.
yeah, the millisecond they announced Darth Malgus, Darth Malik, Bastila Shan, done, got it. Immediately spent money on that because it's
Yeah,
just
I feel
not.
like Revan though was probably one of the top selling
Oh
figures
yeah,
so far.
the first release, the re-release, Jedi Revan. I have both. There's Jedi Revan right there, and there's Darkside Revan right there. Love Revan. Can't wait to have Bastila and Malik. That's gonna make it even cooler.
And that's the downside because of the
Hmm.
game of KOTOR, having to make a canon version of Revan and the Old Republic is
Yeah.
just, and not only because of that game, everybody has their own mental version of who Revan should be, but also yeah,
Hmm. They could
you
not touch it at all and still do a lot of stuff in the Old Republic, but it's at the same
yeah,
time, it's like I don't know.
let's
It's weird
fill
to think because I want them to. Like I want them to, and I don't want them to, and I want them to, and I don't want them
and
to.
the problem is, and that's the problem with the MMO kind of ran into
Yeah.
is it almost doesn't feel like Old Republic without Revan.
Yeah.
Because he's such an integral part of the game, and so they eventually had to add, a little bit of Revenness to
Old
it, and they
Republic
added,
fans are some of the most feverish
yeah,
fans in Star Wars because all of our stuff is just video games and a few books. But we love it. And I don't care what any of you say, Revan might not have been your favorite character in KOTOR, but it's pretty much if it's not Knights of the Old Republic 1 or 2, I mean, some of the people that love Old Republic fell in love with it with the MMORPG.
yeah.
But 90, I wouldn't say like a solid 86 to 90% of us fell in love with it because of KOTOR 1 and 2.
I'd say a majority of people for KOTOR 1.
A lot of people who love the Old Republic are millennials.
And the impractical design of the Mandalorian armor.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I love that armor though. It looks so fun. It's huge and bulky, but
Well,
once I get a 3D
it's
printer, I'm totally gonna make some.
it's the neck piece.
Oh yeah, the
I knew
Neo
somebody that,
Crusaders.
yeah, the
Yeah.
Neo Crusade. I knew some people that did it back in the day, and it was so funny. It's like where the original Batman cowl from the
Right.
90s.
Well, I know that I think the CRLs even allow you to have like a kind of softer neck, so it's
Yeah.
not impossible, but it's definitely not easy.
Well, yeah, in the game they like can turn
Well,
their
that
head, so it's
and
gotta be kind of a soft.
the face is like this big. Like when you're looking through the like
Yeah.
you only get this much visor, and it's still just a T, so it's just this tiny little slit. I love that. It's so crazy to see it in live action, but the lore is so awesome. Mandalore the Uniter, when you get like Candace Ordo and number 2, that armor is way easier to wear. But
The
like
first
the Sith
he's
armor
kind of
looks
the
awesome.
he's kind of has the first almost mirrored Mandalorian armor.
Yeah,
Beat
true.
Din beat Din to it.
Yep, Din was probably inspired by that. I wouldn't be surprised if they did take a little inspiration from that. I've always found it weird that Din is the only guy who never paints his armor,
Yeah, he just got it, made and decided not to paint it afterwards.
which is not bad. He looks great, but it's just I have never. No other Mandalorian does that.
It's because it's tradition to, because the way you paint your armor is either expression of your clan or expression of your personality.
Mm-hmm.
Which we in the later, well, the Clone Wars era, it's more of expression of your clan.
Yeah,
'Cause that's we see a lot of similar painted Mandalorians.
true.
Um, because that it gets very heavily clan focused. Again, it's almost like I said, a mirror of a feudalism. So you kind of paint who you're loyal to. Um, but that's why we get into like the Children of the Watch. If you compare the Children of the Watch and then the Remnants,
Mm-hmm.
the Children of the Watch are all different colors because
Yeah,
they're more of a
hodgepodge.
personality.
Well, I mean, and Dim was painted up in season 1.
Yeah,
His
he
first set of
did. Yeah.
armor was painted, so I don't know if maybe he just is waiting for more inspiration.
So my reasoning is it's so you can easily, the real reason I have a feeling they did it for the show is it's so you can easily find the main character
Yeah,
since you don't see
he's
the
the
face
shiny one.
compared to everyone else.
Yeah,
He's easy to find. And he dominates the screen, which is the intent. Um,
right.
and that's one reason I feel like they did that they take Bo's helmet off,
Uh huh.
so you can identify Bo easier. Because they feel like the audience is stupid, and they're like, oh, look at all these masked people that look like a bunch of Power Rangers. Which one is the main character?
You'll never know.
But yeah, it's just the dumb thing they have. They feel like audiences can't figure out the emotions or who the actor is if they can't
Yeah,
see the face. But no, most people aren't that dumb.
it's very
It's not
true.
like they think that we're like infants. We lack, the ability of
Well,
permanence.
let's
So
be honest though, and not
we're
try to
the
be mean.
Where'd the actor go?
There's a good percentage of us that are like that, but there's sadly a large enough, smaller but large enough percentage of people who are exactly that dumb. And that's why a lot of machines have a lot of don't put hand in moving gear stickers on them. Sadly, every single OSHA violation law has existed due to someone being violated.
Well, it's also and then also the all the warning labels on products. But yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of fun OSHA laws out there.
Oh yeah.
Uh, Being OSHA
And there's no
certified,
OSHA in Star Wars, of course, because fuck your handrails. Who cares? Endless pit of Death Star doom. No handrails. Don't need it.
no toe guards either.
Yeah. Don't fall. Just don't fall. Whatever you
Well,
do.
the toe guards are for like tools. You
Yeah.
know, drop your tools and crush someone's head. I love
Nah.
those OSHA videos of the people getting hurt. So funny.
There's none of that in
Dumb.
Star Wars. No, there's no HR. There's which I do love Dolores. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the
Yeah.
HR Imperial HR lady Dolores. Amazing.
If
Absolutely love it.
without handrails, we wouldn't get the Wilhelm scream. So you know,
True. True.
it's important.
It's very important. Very necessary. Very needed. I think we're gonna see a lot more cool stuff like that too, though, with Ahsoka. Especially though, if we are going through Thrawn, that means we're gonna have to get through Imperial Remnant, which means we get to see more troopers. Um, I'm gonna look forward to seeing a Jedi with troopers because it's fodder. They can't touch her. They're not gonna be able
I
to hurt them at all. Especially if
I, w-
Sabine's wearing Mando armor.
I want you to go as homework. I want you to go either play Jedi Survivor, or watch an episode of Mandalorian or something. And when they go through places, I want you to think how a normal person does their daily routine in that area.
Yeah.
Or like when they go to these temples, like Ahsoka, or these temples and other things, like Bad Batch. Think about the people that used to live there and how practical it was for these designs of places and how impractical it would be to do your daily functions.
Yeah, Jedi Fallen Order, you had to move the sphere. Okay, hold on. Well, yeah, I'll be up there in a second. I gotta move this sphere with the Force over here, and I gotta put this sphere. Oh wait, I gotta launch it. Okay, grab it. Put the sphere here. All right, I'm coming up. The elevator works now.
But I love, at least I haven't played I haven't played the second one yet, but I love in the first one. There's the one planet with all the scout troopers, and you're
Oh
like
yeah,
jumping from place to place, and you're like, how did the scout troopers get there in the first place? You know, like they just but have ladders, and then they just hand it to the next person, and they like temporary bridge, and they blew the
right.
bridge apart, or like. And then before the troopers got there, there was supposed to be like a city. How did those people live? And there's like sections of cliffs.
Yeah.
It's it's just yeah, it made no sense. But I mean, it makes a fun video game level. But
Well, that's like, I
because
mean, the people that live on Mustafar. I was like, why are there things on Mustafar? Who would want to live on this planet? I'm like, oh, they literally sell lava to the rest of the
yeah,
galaxy who needs lava. So there are people there who just mine lava. Now, of course, because of Vader Immortal, we need to find out that there were an entire people who lived on Mustafar, as it wasn't always a shithole. And we could have found out a lot more cool stuff about Mustafar in the sequels, but they just decided to show us 3 seconds of Ben on Mustafar and then leave after we find whatever. That was just bad. Oh well.
you know how awesome they would have made Ben Solo if they didn't show his face till the very end, like they did Darth Vader,
Oh, you think?
or revealed that he was Han's real son.
Now that would have been cool had they not revealed it for a little bit longer. I think.
Like he was just mysterious. They had Snoke, which even more mysterious, and they have
Right.
him.
And maybe they thought
And
that
then,
Ben Solo was dead, so
or go to the second movie, and that's the mask
yeah.
comes off, and and then you see Leia, my son. Type that would have been so cool.
No, I am your mother.
And then the third one, it's like the whole mysterious Snoke, and we don't
Yeah.
ever really find out who truly he was.
I mean, we know that he was created by Palpatine, but that's about it.
Uh, I, in my head, I still, think he's like Darth Plagueis that somehow came back,
That sounds way cooler, but we don't even know
or just
like
some ancient Sith that
that's my thing
existed
is
and
I don't
waited
understand
till
how
Sidious went away, and
yeah. Like I don't get how Pelagius Pelagius, but like how Sidious was able to create a personality for this creature to make it a living thing. So maybe I mean I they haven't talked about that really like at all that I know of, but I don't know how Snoke really came
Essentially,
to be.
he's essentially
He's
supposed to
just
be
a
a failed
clone.
clone. It was supposed to be like a
Yeah.
failed clone that I guess he was good enough mentally that he was able to utilize him as a puppet. Well, my funny thing is like if he's able to utilize him as a puppet, how
Yeah.
did he convince all those first order officers like, hey, this guy's in charge without him like existing fully yet? Because well, they had the kind of the mind kind of personality
Yeah.
uploaded, but still, it just seemed kind of. The funny thing is like, hey guys, I'm in charge now.
Well, there are like 3 or 4 people who know he's alive. Kind of, I think the Shadow Council teaches us that
Yeah,
with Mandalorian. So it's like
I know.
The
I'm
Shadow
saying
Council was running.
it's just funny to
It's
convince,
hilarious. Yeah. Hey,
to
no.
convince like,
This dude who looks like he's a old ball sack that's falling apart. That guy, supreme leader.
and if you would have made him like really strong with the Force, that we could actually see, it would make sense. But we don't really get
You
to
know,
see that.
he got to do that one thing where he took like Hux or something, right? And he like spun him
Yeah,
on the floor and pushed him around. That was it.
which is not as cool. I mean, it's not as cool as what we got to see back in the day with with Vader,
Force
with the
chokes.
Force chokes, and then eventually the lightning coming out of
Yeah.
the Emperor.
Dude,
Um,
that Force Lightning, that was awesome. I loved when Ray did that. Like Force Lightning to me is one of the coolest superpowers, but Force Lightning is definitely one of the coolest Force powers.
I
And
know we've seen it before, but yeah, having Snoke, if he would have done the Force, it's just so integral in Star Wars
yeah.
that we would know that this guy's the bad guy. This
Oh
guy's
yeah.
serious.
Yep,
If
exactly.
he would just lit up somebody,
Mhm.
but he doesn't. He really don't get to see much of him because he dies pretty easily.
He's not really even in the comics that heavily either. It's just
Yeah. I originally would have liked him not to be, but for not the reason that they've kind of just glossed over
yeah.
Snoke. My reasoning would be I liked him being mysterious because that's what made the Emperor so, he was so mysterious to the original trilogy. It's what
Right.
made him, so unique. Darth Vader, when you think of the Empire and the evil, you really thought of Vader, not the Emperor, until you
Right.
get to Return of the Jedi. Because he's just, and that's what they kind of should have done. I feel like revealing who Ben Solo is and then his face so quickly, it almost diminishes the
Mhm.
evil side, and then just almost makes him more of a joke.
Mhm.
Um,
Which sadly a lot of people definitely felt that way.
and then you also do that with Captain Phasma, which is the
That
most
was yeah, that was a bad
badass
one.
looking
That was
trooper,
right. Awesome.
and
Awesome trooper.
awesome decked out, awesome person who was playing Captain Phasma's badass,
Mhm.
and you just like she constantly falls off things and gets knocked into things. She
Yeah,
does hardly anything badass in the show.
I am wholeheartedly gonna sit in the Phasma didn't die camp and just sit on my hill, happy because I don't like the idea that Phasma died. I hope she existed after the Final Order and
In
became
an
like a
alternate
mercenary
universe,
or
Finn became a Jedi,
hmm
which he battled more. I feel like Rey should have not been related to Sidious. I think I think the more of the battle of the dark side been more battle with Finn would
yeah.
have been better. And then them kind of going to because it kind of reminds me. I think it would have been better to kind of have the similar storyline that we had with the brother and sister from Legends
Okay.
from because we eventually have like Kira,
Yeah.
um, and one joins the dark side, one joins the light side. I think that would have been better with Finn and Ray. Kind
Yeah.
of recreated that story, um,
Okay.
and then almost maybe have them kind of this almost not like a full on love, but kind of a a sort of semi love story between them. But it's like
Right.
his one will betray, join the dark side or something. I don't know. I just think it'd be kind of a lot more compelling than what we ended up having, and then also with the having the Snoke being the real
Mm.
bad guy, not Sidious, and then having I said the reveal of Ben Solo being a lot more you know mysterious and a lot more delayed.
Yeah. Definitely many of ways that a lot of us could see this could have been changed up and done over. Hindsight is of course 2020. And we look forward to the future, though, as things
Yeah.
could get fixed and those kind of stories could start to flower in the upcoming movies with Rey and the future of the Jedi. We, of course, have, again, like we've talked about, Acolyte and Ahsoka coming up soon, which is going to really help push Star Wars into the next phase, into the next series, I believe. Um, the strike takes as long as it will, of course, need to take. And I do hope for a quick resolution in the writer's favor. And may the force be with them all, as of course this is going to be a hard time for them and a
Writers
lot of
get
other
paid.
people.
Hopefully, the writers get paid what they deserve.
Yep.
And yeah, I don't expect it to last forever, but I think the real statement here is they want to bring a major studio involvement,
Yeah.
and so having Disney involved with Andor. So I think they're hoping that Disney will be like step in and say, "Hey, this has got to get fixed to be smaller." Because I'm pretty sure there's smaller studio. I mean, Disney. There's not much bigger than Disney at this
Right.
moment.
Oh yeah, not much at all. Yeah, you
So
really
yeah,
don't get that much bigger.
so yeah, getting this fixed soon is a possibility, and then um, when you have workers that are doing the basic groundwork, make sure they get paid the amount.
Yep, exactly. Well, guys, have an amazing rest of your evening. We look forward to next week where we hopefully will have some more news. They might drop a little teasers. They might just do a little something extra. Have an amazing rest of your day. And as always, may the force serve you well.
May the force be with you.